Item number 2,
We can do 2, 4, and 6 and vote on all 3 of them. They were discussed in closed session.
So moved.
We're going to vote on items 2, 4, and 6, which were discussed in closed session. Is any,
So moved.
is there any further discussion?
And we're moving for approval. I just want to make sure we all understand that,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items 2, 4, and 5 pass.
thank you, Debbie. Item number 3, we're going to hold.
It's easy.
Yes.
Item number 3, we're gonna hold.
3.
Item 3, we're holding, the TIF.
Oh, yes, that was just,
Item number 5, we already approved that.
That's approved.
And
6,
then
discussion.
6, we'll hold that.
We'll hold that. 7, discussion relative childcare that you're gonna take care of.
We can just hold that.
Yes. And item 8, property located at 106. We'll hold that.
We can hold that.
We'll go to item number 9, resolution to consider amendment to the financial real estate consulting services contract with S.D. Freeman Development Advisors in the amount not to exceed $30,000. Mr. Stevo.
This is the same firm we used for years, and they help us structure our deals in Chicago.
I move approval.
Second.
The move for approval and second. Any further, Mr. Clark?
How much will we have spent this year?
This year,
Yes.
probably less than 30,000.
This is for 1 year?
Well, this is until it runs out of money. We will keep using them until they run out of money, then we come back like today and say we need more money.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Item 10, discussion relative to family self-sufficient grant for housing and urban development in the amount of $72,000 related to the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Mr. Stevel.
Patrick?
thank you, Mr. Chairman. What we did in housing is submit an application in partnership with some local entities such as the school district, WIBIC, Flood Milwaukee, different groups like that, to help our Section 8 participants work to become self-sufficient. In other words, help improve their financial situation so that they wouldn't be as dependent on Section 8 or improve their financial situation. That they could save the savings from the federal program and put it towards something in the future. This is a $72,000 grant. Our goal is to help 25 participants. We're looking into see if it's renewable for 3 years, but right now the agreement is for 1 year at $72,000. We look to possibly consider outside consultants to help with the coordination of this activity, but to get a few of our participants to upskill or get a GED, etc. And then, you know, one of the fears of Section 8 participants is if they improve their financial situation, they lose their assistance. So the motivation is somewhat stymied by that. This situation is to help them save that savings under the federal program, and they get that at the end of when they complete their program to become self-sufficient.
We're not asking you to vote on anything today. We want to give you a heads up that we're trying to put something together.
I have to
We'll
accept
become-
the grant, though.
Pardon?
I have to accept the grant online, so I need direction
Oh.
that I can accept the grant. HUD has
Okay.
been asking me to accept it.
Very good.
So tonight's not a resolution, it's a discussion that, or a directive to accept the grant.
We could just, not a resolution, but just a motion to accept the grant. That's what you're looking for.
I move to accept the grant.
Second.
Been moved to second to accept the grant. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion stands
Thank you.
accepted. Item 11, resolution to consider extension of time request for a letter of intent and agreement with Capri Restaurant Group for the reunion located at
We don't have our
6610 West
64.
Greenfield Avenue. Mr. Stevo.
Sean?
Thank you. Yeah, this is a proposal to extend the time for the letter of intent. The CDA at the July 9th meeting gave the reunion, Chris Paul, 60 days to do due diligence through the letter of intent, and that time has expired, and so we're just Mr. Paul is asking that the CDA give him another 90 days of due diligence. He has made a lot of progress in the time since he was last before the CDA. He's in for Plan Commission submittal, will be on the October Plan Commission agenda, will be on the first meeting in November for the council, and has construction drawings complete, is getting construction estimates, as the bank lined up. Things are going, really well in that regard, just it takes time. And
Move for approval.
Been moved for approval?
I second, but I have one question.
Go ahead, Alderman.
30.
Yeah, Sean,
90.
60 days would be a
90,
good
straight
extension.
90.
Johnny has a question for you.
That's right.
yeah, I think you just said it. 90 days is that what you're asking for?
90.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Should take us into December, but he wants to close in November.
That's the other one, that's 60.
Pardon?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Item 12, resolution to consider extension of time request for letter of intent and agreement with Paul Revised LLC Group for the property located at 6771 West National Avenue and potential portions of 6700 West Mitchell Street. Mr. Stevel.
Sean?
As you're aware, this is the building that the property that the CDA currently owns, and has an LOI with Baum Revision Group to put in an event space through historic rehabilitation. They'd also do some food production users and other associated uses. They entered into an LOI with CDA on August 13th for 90 days. It hasn't quite expired yet, but we wanted to get ahead of the game, I guess, based on where they're at, and just ask. They've requested a 60-day extension with the ability of the executive director to give another 30 days. They're currently in for the part one at the National Park Service. They've already received the state recommendation to the National Park Service that their application get approved for historic designation, and so National Park Service has like 10 more days to make their decision on it. Once they, if they approve it, they then go into the Part 2 process, which is the detailed construction drawings, which is extremely costly for a developer, and they have to really dig in. So fingers are crossed. Things are going really well. They've been going through this building quite often with different specialists in the construction fields, and so things are looking good. And so anyway, we're just so the extra 60-day extension would take it to November 9th period, at which is right around the time that we would hope to be nearing closing. It would likely be more of an early December type thing, but so 90 would get them to around that time. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. So the 60 days would get them to a January 13th expiration in the LOI, which is when they're hoping to close. The additional 30 would be built in case things happen, which would take it to a February 12th.
We'll give them
next
60
week.
days to keep a short leash on them. Then you give the authority to extend it another 30 days if we feel the progress is being made.
I move approval of the 60 and 30.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Been moved for approval and second. Is there any further discussion?
Hey, you're going the wrong way.
If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey,
Resolution passes.
Well,
Item 13.
Task force agenda.
Item 13, resolution approving contract with Rambo Envirocon for providing professional environmental services for various redevelopment and blighted related projects in the amount not to exceed $25,000. Mr. Stevel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rambo has been doing a lot of investigation, from most notably 116th and Morgan, among other sites that they've done for us. They just completed 116th and Morgan investigations. They put 8 borings in. There was always a fear that we're going to find incinerator ash or garbage or white goods being dumped in there. None of those were found.
Wow.
It was fairly clean.
Shock.
There was, oh, here we are. There
Wow.
was some petroleum products. in the
We can put our
middle.
condos up.
We've run into a lot of petroleum products in the past. So this resolution that you're doing now is to provide funds to continue that investigation.
And
And
Mr.
any
Chair,
others that we need to do for other districts. We use this firm or another firm just to keep them honest.
Mr. Chairman.
Alderman Carr.
Mr. Haas, please, I'll wait.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. So, yeah, we seem, just like you said, Mr. Stiebel, we do this regularly, we approve this regularly. Is this $25,000 a year that we're usually doing? or-
No, it's for, each of those holes, if they find any contaminant in there, then they have to do another round of tests all around that one circle. And then they gotta find the vertical and horizontal extent of any contamination. They gotta map where that contamination's at. And then if one of those ones hits something, then they gotta do another boring around that one. So it's a matter of trying to define exactly how deep the contamination is, how wide the contamination, and what the contamination is, and then also determine what the amount of contamination there is, so that we can figure out what the remedial action would be. In most cases, it's gonna be encapsulation. Some of that may be hot spot removal. What we found to date is really good in that we didn't find a lot of garbage. So I don't think that we're not gonna find any, but I know that there's a developer to the Greenfield site, the property, he found some incinerated ash up here. And what he'll do is just encapsulate it, put a park, green space on top of it, and take off. I thought we might find something in here, but this boring didn't, so it was really good.
Okay, thank you.
But the Rambo scope also includes consultation with developers that are buying city-owned properties in the environmental side, such as the 68th and Mitchell site. As they explore the site for that, they provide the city's environmental consulting review to UHS for helping sell that property. That's in their scope, as well as administrative assistance with our US EPA revolving loan fund.
Thank you. Mr. Clark?
So, John, more environmental work has to be done on this property?
Yes. I would bet $100,000 before we're done. I'm just guessing.
Okay, thank you.
Wow.
So moved.
Been moved. We have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 13, resolution passes. One more, last item on the agenda, consideration relative to report on redevelopment initiatives. There's quite a few.
Anybody has
lists.
any questions?
Any question? Mr. Clark?
Just an observation, in the past, for a number of years, this list was 10, 15, 20 items long, and it gave us an opportunity to at least ask questions or for you folks to bring things to our attention. Now you've reduced it to 5 items, and I would think that we would like 116th and Morgan on here. We'd like the State Fair Park and resurrect that longer list, so we at least have the option of talking about it.
If you would like that, we can certainly do that. In the interest of full public disclosure, we've made it smaller.
I would like it, maybe no one else does, but do it for me on my sheet.
Jason?
I was kind of thinking the same thing, is that because it's not on there, and I'm not on the attorney side of things, if it's not on here, can you even talk about it?
No,
So
But you
that
can
might-
call individually and ask, right? You just don't do it in public session where you've got the
We can't act.
quorum, right?
Yeah.
I think
So-
the issue we had was that it was so long that there were a lot of items on here that weren't being talked about, and it's,
and that's fine, they're on there, it gives us a chance to talk about them. Put them back on.
Yes, sir?
Well, another option is when we get the agenda, can we say, hey, this is missing, can we talk about it? And have you guys add it to the final?
Another option.
Well, why don't you put
I think we all know that a certain person would like 116th and Morgan to be item F.
Item 8, right?
At 8, yeah.
I think the skate park was
Okay, A
supposed to be
sub
that.
1.
All right, so are we done?
Okay, one
I don't know how
second.
the
I
skate
see
park is
the
up
Holiday
on
Inn
here.
Express, they're working up
That's
there? The Holiday Inn Express, they're working up there?
Yep, they're working.
Awesome.
Big,
We have a couple slides.
Oh, look at that.
So in terms of the Mandel project, of course, you know, the clinic's done, the apartments are coming along. They're saying by November 1st, they possibly will have one a unit available for lease, and they have
They've leased 8 units so far. They want it to be in November 1st. I don't know how they're gonna do that, but they've got
Okay.
200 inquiries that they're letting down.
Wow.
so you can see some of the current status of, they have a model unit done, Sean had the opportunity to go in a new walkie event where they walked through the property as well as some other properties
Oh,
in the
that's
area.
cool.
So
We'll get you in this model unit while we this tour.
the item that we are currently working on with Mandel on the Sona side is the stormwater collection, which is important for the Nona part, to be able to figure out what the sizing of this for land development and making sure that we accommodate all the stormwater needs for the project. I think today we decided that this does do that, and we'll be forwarding the site for additional, I think they're coming in to ask us for money for a portion of this, so we'll have
It'll
to
be
see.
kept, so it's-
Yeah.
They've already for.
84th in Greenfield, Ogden project, units available in January. You can see it's coming along as well,
January,
too.
February.
Right. Only reason why is John and I drove by the other day and the developer was out here. Seems like we're always crossing paths right here with them, so. But that's an update on
This
that
is
property.
This is supposed to look like this. That's part of the interior. The exterior is really totally different, but just want to give you a heads up.
Okay, whatever.
The Highway 100 market analysis and conceptual plan. We've hired Ginsler. They've completed their focus groups, and a number of you participated in that. And thank you very much for doing so. They've responded with the results of the focus groups and a map and highlighting some key areas. October 17th at 6 p.m., they're having a review of what items findings currently that they have and some working group sessions at 6 p.m. at Irving School. Then there will be a November meeting. I think that date's going to be set tomorrow when we have our weekly call with a report in December.
Wow.
We completed a survey of the neighborhoods along the Highway 100 corridor. They went out, the link to the survey went to the aldermen, to the neighborhood associations, was placed on Nextdoor, and then the mayor also said, I have this out here for the Highway 100 neighborhood, please fill this out. We had 231 respondents, and this is not scientific, this is just out of Survey Monkey, here's the result. I am not stating anything here of opinion one way or another, but this shows why people go to Highway 100. I thought that made a lot of sense, this one. The one thing that came out that was kind of interesting, so I'm kind of giving you a preview to the 17th meeting, is what the citizens were saying were issues of the Highway 100 area, and I think this came out a little bit different than the focus groups in their findings. The traffic is a huge issue. The second one was safety and crime. And I find that's concerning to me, because if that is a public perception, they change their shopping habits based on they feel uncomfortable or they won't go there to eat. So I don't know exactly what that means, but when I see that as the second top issue, that's way different than what came out of the focus groups. So that was
Highway 100 used to be
interesting.
very- Lots of problems with just the traffic. That's why we stopped the cruising,
Right.
and it could be part of that as well.
And then in the other top ones were access to business, new businesses or aesthetics improvements. So again, I'm not saying anything scientifically here, but when you look at this and you see something like this jump out at you at the top, it's just something for us to note.
Okay, so was that the question, safety / crime? Because I could see someone looking at safety as the issue with driving, Highway 100, that not necessarily, so it's weird that they're in the same group.
Okay. I don't know if it's
That's kind
safety.
of what I thought too. That's why I brought up the cruising issue, just to get in and out of the traffic. It's particularly now.
We'll look into that.
Yeah, moving on.
Versus, I don't think I've heard any situation where, oh yeah, I went to the grocery store and my car was broken into, or,
Yeah,
Well-
moving on.
I don't know, whatever.
We'll look into that further
Just, what.
by
people-
next week. Holiday Inn or in 2 weeks. Holiday Inn Express is under construction. See,
Wow.
they've moved dirt around the whole site already. So they're getting the slab ready, and we don't have anything to discuss on the skate park. That was there.
Okay,
Okay. No further business to come before this committee?
I will move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Way to go.
Aye. Meeting stands adjourned.
Yay.
That big one.